Hey kids, this is Aaron from the podcast That Wouldn't Die, and Kevin and I use Zencastr. You think you're better than us, that you're using something else? You're wrong. Zencastr's the place to be. Who are you to deny it?
It's now super easy to record a podcast with Zencastr. Log in using your browser and start recording a high-quality podcast right away. Record studio-quality sound and up to 4K video with your guests. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use our code DIEHARD and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. We want you to have the same experiences we do for all our podcasting and content needs. It's time for you to share your story.
Only a fool would give up a chance for a 30% discount.
Think you were ready, but you are. I knew it when I saw you with him. Your whole body burns.
I'm not like you.
You tell yourself that it's love, but it isn't. It's blood, death.
Welcome to the latest episode of the podcast That Wouldn't Die. I'm your host, Kevin. With me, as always, is Aaron.
Yo!
Yo!
Happy Sunday! I got no bra, no makeup on, and I didn't comb my hair. How's about you?
How about you? This week on the podcast That Wouldn't Die, we're discussing the 1982 horror erotic thriller, I guess, Cat People, starring Nastasia Kinski, John Hurd, Malcolm McDowell, Annette O'Toole, Ed Begley Jr. is in this for a few minutes.
All-star cast.
It was shocking. It was frankly shocking.
It's been a long time since I've seen this.
I have never seen it all the way through.
What?
I've never seen it. I knew it was Malcolm McDowell.
Nastasia Kinski's walking around with muff and full nudity for half the picture. Yes. And you were like, I'll just turn this off.
Do you know how old she was in this?
Probably 12, because I know during tests she was having an affair with what's his name?
She likes to throw it around. She was 21. She was 21 in this movie.
Oh, so she's finally
legal.
Very
young.
Oh no.
Look
at Tess. She was a teenager having an affair with Roman Polanski. Having
she
a father
denied
like
that she had the affair.
We don't believe it. I don't think Klaus Kinski as a father is necessarily a protective person, as you may have guessed.
No, he was an accused child molester as well, on top of all of his other sins.
But it wasn't child molesting back in those days. It was just fun and games.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Back in Germany, back in the 60s.
He's Polish.
Good to know.
FYI.
He's Polish extraction. Yes. He's from Germany. But I think it's like his father was Polish, something along those lines. He was
born in what is now Poland.
What's interesting to me is I always thought her name was Natasha Kinski. It's not. It's Nastasia Kinski. And Kinski's not even their real last name either. It's an even crazier Polish. It's like Nakaginski or something.
Oh, so they're Japanese.
No offense to Polish listeners. It's a thing. It's a thing. Each week on the podcast That Wouldn't Die, we discuss guilty pleasures, forgotten classics of the horror and sci-fi genres with a comedic twist. Aaron, what's the latest?
I saw Morrissey on Wednesday. I was like shot out of the cannon. Morrissey's fantastic. He went on after leaving us, went to Palm Springs, but he claims he got sick in Bakersfield and had to cancel his San Diego shows because he got hospitalized for sinusitis that he acquired in the B-town, is the quote.
I mean, who of us have not been driven sick by Bakersfield?
I am on 25 medications to suppress my body trying to kill me because of the poison air. He also complained that as they travel through the world, they're lavished with gifts, some better than others, all always appreciated. But the gifts from Bakersfield were sadly lacking. And the crowd was like, no, Morrissey. He's like, oh, no, it's true. Sadly lacking.
I believe it, and I know our audience believes this because you told the exact same story on our last episode.
Oh,
we got to keep a
I forgot that
checklist.
Oh my God. Anyway, I don't give a I did not.
It's a story
the
that keeps
news
on
story
giving.
is,
Am I right?
first they claim that they canceled San Diego's concerts because of issues with the venue, but now it is because of sinusitis picked up in Bakersfield for the less than 24 hours he was here.
Crazy. Well,
Still
I mean,
worth it, children.
It's
Go
the
see
thing.
Morrissey.
I mean,
well, that's what
if you
happens
like
when we
Morrissey-
record more than once in a week. Just edit it all out.
What, you can't remember a story you told 2 days ago?
I told
That's
the
what
story to
happens.
20 people. Yeah. I've become our parents.
Oh, I am absolutely my parents. I tell the same story, and I have to preface every story I tell my kids and my wife. You may have heard this before, and 2 sentences or 2 words into the first sentence, they're like, hard pass. You told us this. I know the
And
moral
quite
of the story,
frankly,
Dad. Thanks.
That is a Morrissey a song. Stop me if you heard this one before. But what I tell people is, just let me tell the story. Don't remind me.
Right. I'm still going to tell it.
I don't want to
Make
know
no
about my
mistake.
Alzheimer's. I'm still going to tell the story. Just pretend like
Right.
it's new information.
The wheels have already started turning,
No.
right? The ball's in motion. So
True.
the story's coming out one way or another. So you
It's
might as
coming
well just
out.
smile and
The
nod.
OCD won't allow me to stop mid-story. If I have to sit
Will
here
not.
and mutter it quietly to myself, then that's what I'll do. But it's more likely I'll shout it louder.
Absolutely. Why don't we jump right in and give us your 30-second synopsis of the 1982 Cat People.
Okay, in some part of white Africa, they worship these cat people. It's kind of like a werewolf situation where if they get horny or have sex, they turn into Black Panthers. Is this the origin of the Marvel Black Panther? Anyway.
Yes, this is where it came
And
from.
they can't turn back until they kill someone. So Malcolm McDowell and apparently there's only 2 of them, so you got to be super incestuous. You got to do it with your sister. Their parents were circus freaks and they were killed, and apparently one was sent to Germany and one was sent to the UK, and they all met in New Orleans, where Malcolm McDowell is just cruising for prostitutes because he can't control himself. Yeah. Malcolm McDowell's dead. She's in a cage. Whatever. It's a ridiculous story. But I do like
now.
Honestly, the
Please.
best part of this movie is the David Bowie theme song, which you can't even sing at karaoke because he starts it off so fucking low, like he's a baritone, and then he's hitting high notes. It's impossible song to
Gasoline
sing. With gasoline. And the whole time they're Black Leopards, it looks like a David Bowie video. It looks like ashes to ashes, fun to fun. You know, Major Tom's a junkie. You know what I'm talking about? Did you have MTV
Vaguely.
in your time?
I have to say, I was 6. Anywho, but
when they ended MTV, MTV or
when they ended it back then. No, well, we could talk about MTV. I was wanting to watch Nickelodeon, and my older angry sibs forced me to watch. I had to learn to read. I had to go in the other room and just read a book because my older sibs would not ever let me
read a
change
book,
the channel.
Kevin. Don't you know how to read? The problem, the beauty of MTV is if you lived in these isolated areas like Palm Springs, where you didn't get the LA radio signals, the only current music was on an AM station at KDES. So you did not get all the new wave hits. The only way you heard about new music is if, God forbid, you drove around the mountains and picked up LA stations or through MTV. MTV back in the day had unsigned bands. They had 24 hours to fill, and there was not enough music videos to go around. So anybody who could make a video and was British, you were on MTV.
Aaron, we had FM stations in Palm Springs. This is ridiculous. We had one AM station that we'd huddle around by the fire.
I
to
will
warm
tell
ourselves.
you,
We listened to the
when I was in high school, we had FM stations, but they were not playing the current music.
Fair.
KDES
That's
was
a
the
different
only one
story,
playing.
though. That's a different story.
No, well, that's what I'm saying.
What I was going to say,
back in the old days, FM was like you're playing classical music or God knows what else. I can just tell you, the only contemporary station when I was in high school was KDES, and that was AM. So shut your gob.
What I was going to say is that song, the Cat People song, I only know it because I hadn't seen this movie all the way through. I only know it from Inglourious Bastards. That's the only reason I know that song. Before.
I don't even remember.
Yes.
It makes sense. I guess it's the end when everything's blowing up.
Right. When she's about to light the theater on fire. That's the theme music.
Yeah.
It's like the whole song basically plays while she's planning her thing, this montage. I had no idea that song was in this movie at all.
Oh, how about
them apples?
It's the theme from the Cat People. Or Cat People.
It's called Cat People.
Putting out the fire with gasoline. It's called Cat People's.
Putting out fire is the subtitle of it, of the thing.
Because people are like, Cat People.
Do you remember when you'd seen this before?
I don't remember if I saw this at the theater or not. This might have been a VHS rental. I'm not really sure. I feel like I would have seen it immediately because, my most shameful love is Malcolm McDowell in Time After Time with his weepy speech at the end. So because of that, I would have rushed out to see this. But I will tell you, he was terribly miscast in this. I mean, Nastasia is creeping around like she is a cat. She is nothing but a sex pot. She is famous for being a young sex pot. Malcolm McDowell is not throwing out that same energy. There needed to be someone who is putting out the male version of her.
Like, who would that be in 1982 if not Malcolm McDowell? Malcolm McDowell's down with it. Clearly, he's like, whatever, I'll be naked half the movie too.
He don't gives a. He's just happy to be working. Gosh, I don't know.
Absolutely.
What year was this?
82.
I don't know. Who would you cast for it now? Pedro Pascal?
Pedro Pascal, you throw a rock, you hit him 3 times. He's in every goddamn thing.
Because you're like, can Pedro Pascal do it? He could probably do it pretty well. I mean, if you think about his role in Game of Thrones, that kind of vibey character would be perfect.
That's true. That's true.
Because Pedro Pascal can do anything. I mean, who are you going to put? Matt Damon? Oh,
absolutely.
No. He is too long of a tooth.
No.
Who are you going to put out there?
Well, because what you're saying is, it's not just...
What the
It's a Chalamet vehicle.
No.
It's not just handsome. It's like a sensuality.
Yes.
Is what you're talking about. Because you're trying to create like kind of a cat-like character. Not just a skeezy bastard like Malcolm McDowell showing
Malcolm McDowell
trying to seduce his sister.
I mean, the movie is trash. I will just say that you needed to tell your sister this whole back part history, and where you go through time and space and meet your dead cat parents. Maybe push that forward before you start trying to do your sister for no apparent reason. But back to sexy. I mean, Nastasia is not a great actress, but she does exude the sex. So then Nastasia, current Pedro. I think you got something going on there.
Okay, fair enough. Well, what's interesting is I did a little research on this
Yes.
to compare this with the original 40s cat people. And there is no Malcolm McDowell character in the original. The reason why they added that is because they did not like the idea. They didn't like the idea that in the original movie that the woman, the cat woman, essentially, is kind of like a strong, assertive, sexual creature and is vilified for that. Like they were trying to like make a statement where like, no, we'll still have a cat woman doing that, doing her cat shit. But the only one who really pays the price for being a vilified cat person, like a sexual person, is Malcolm McDowell. He's the bad guy. She's not a bad guy per se.
Well, she does choose to be a bad guy at the end. She does choose to have sex, knowing what's going to happen. This is why it makes no sense. And then kills a nice guy. These are choices. So in the end, she decides to follow her brother's path.
You're right.
But I see what you're saying, because it is a werewolf situation. You don't choose it. It happens.
Right.
Maybe there are ways you can control it to protect. Because I think in American Werewolf in London, doesn't he have her chain him at one point? Like when, or am I thinking of a different horror movie?
They show, they didn't do that in American Werewolf, but they do show in this movie, like in Malcolm McDowell's basement, there is like chains and shit and like cells where presumably he's chaining himself up. But that being said, later in the movie, we're just jumping right in. Later in the movie, when Tasha Kinski has sex with John Hurt for the first time and starts turning into a cat, she has the presence of mind to not kill him. She jumps out the window, and so I mean, if you can control yourself, then what are we doing?
Then what are we doing?
If he can, right?
Her brother, on the other hand, doesn't give a shit, so he's still gonna have sex and then just kill whoever's there.
Well,
because he doesn't give a shit.
Clearly a nymphomaniac. He's a nymphomaniac. Where it's one thing to be like, look, because I guess he looked like he was a priest or something.
He was dressed up with like a collar. Yeah. Well, remember, she goes to the church to look for him. Is it the Cat People Church?
Right.
See? I think they're in the wrong. I mean, if this is a cult, there's got to be followers around there. I mean, remember in The Mummy, all his people came out to protect him. You got to go back to whatever your old fucking country is and rally your people together and let them make sacrifices like in the old days.
Right.
That, or you stop reproducing. You were gods. You ain't gods now. Now you're a hobo who murders prostitutes.
Right. He's a nympho. I mean, when he picks her up to the day he gets killed, it's like a couple days, it seems like. And in that time, murders multiple. It's like, I understand you're living a monastic life and you're like, look, every now and again, I just got to have it. But the idea of that he's just constantly on the make, even though he knows he's going to kill these women. And he has remorse, I guess.
I don't see any remorse. Remorse means you're sorry. So there's no remorse. There are multiple bodies down in the dungeon. So he's chained up.
Multiple half-eaten bodies.
Yes. Oh, he's chained up. So someone's bringing women and throwing them through the chains.
Famale, the voodoo woman who lives with them. Famale. I was reading the subtitles, and it kept saying female, and they kept saying famale. And later she explains, well, my parents on her birth certificate just said famale, female, or some female, and my mom couldn't read. So ever since then, I became famale. What was that?
It's
Good
terrible.
Lord.
We have
This
kids that
movie.
are in foster care, and no one's bothered to change their name, so it says baby boy, like in high school.
Oh my God, that is the worst thing I've ever heard.
Horrible.
That is the worst thing I've ever heard.
Let that sink into you. Come on, people.
Jesus, that took a turn. Good Lord.
Woo!
So they talk about how they are brother and sister, even though he's clearly 20 years older than her. And they have been in orphanages all their lives because their parents, when Nastasia was 4, their parents, they eventually say, committed suicide. They eventually killed themselves.
Doesn't make sense.
Well, I guess what it is if you ever, in the original movie in the 40s, this was a thing where it was like, if you ever get excited was the original premise. But this is like, if you get excited, if you have sex, then you turn into
like sexually excited, or you had too much coffee. Like you shouldn't have had that third shot of espresso.
Yes, it's caffeine, 100%. Then
you're up too late watching Cinemax, and then boom.
Right, that's 100%. You got to steer clear of the Red Shoe Diaries, or you're gonna become a giant panther, and then you will stay a panther until you kill somebody. And what happens is, earlier in the movie, a prostitute is called to like a flop house, and she walks in, and he's already a panther, and she escapes. They lock the door, and the New Orleans Zoo, because this takes place in New Orleans, comes in, tranks who is later revealed it's Malcolm McDowell, and he's in the goddamn he's in the zoo for a number of days, right? By the way, that zoo is the worst zoo I've ever seen. It's like it's like a prison cell,
dude.
Right? No attempt to make it look like anything.
It was not the San Diego Zoo. It reminds, when I was a little kid, our folks took me. We were in San Francisco. We were at the San Francisco Zoo, and it looked like that, where the cats are in this small box and they're pacing, and it smelled so bad. But did you like the fact that you could literally walk up and put your hand through the bars and there's no separation between the people and the creatures? Dude.
Correct.
Either people were smarter back then, or that's how you learn your lesson. Burn your hand on the pot of water, lose your arm from the big cat. Eventually you're going to learn.
Right. It was poor Ed Begley Jr. He reaches in. He's trying to just clean the goddamn cage because it's a disgusting, gross. There's shit everywhere. He's trying to clean
it with the cat in there. Usually they put him in the outside part and then they clean.
I think they were trying to get him to go.
Oh, well, spray him with the.
They were trying to get him to go, and he wouldn't go. I guess they didn't want to do that, but they were going to get the prod. They were trying to prod him to go to leave the inside area to go to the outside area. And they tied the prod to Ed Begley's arm for some reason. Unclear why this was necessary. Sticks his whole arm into the cage.
You knew he was good.
That's ball game.
You knew he was going to die the minute you saw Ed Begley Jr. waltz through.
Ed Begley Jr. Look. In my mind, Ed Begley Jr. was primarily St. Elsewhere about
St. Elsewhere.
But I guess he was doing other shit.
He was also in... No, he was also in, he's in all those, Best in Show and all those movies.
Well, that's 20 years later.
Yeah, it is.
Or something. You know what I mean? I'm talking about young
and then he
had
his own reality show with him and his wife and his kids, and it was all him taking the bus to the Emmy Awards, and it was like Living with Ed or something. Right. I can't remember the name of it.
He's an environmentalist in real life. That's a thing that he's into. So And it's why when the kids don't understand, the wife hates you. It's just fun reality show, I guess, at that stage of the game. Anywho, sweet Jesus. So her as far as Nastasia is concerned, her newly reunited brother disappears. She doesn't know anything about it. And she's just like walking the streets of New Orleans, which doesn't seem like a safe idea. If I have to guess, just walking the streets, who knows where you'll end up. And she goes to the zoo just coincidentally. And she's obsessed with this panther.
Not
and
coincidentally, she
is
is drawn to her brother. Yeah, she's drawn to him. She dreams about him.
Correct.
But never until she was in the same city. I mean, come on.
Correct. Well, and what's interesting, so the head zookeeper, John Hurd, sees her, and she's already like Spider-Man or some shit, because she's like about to jump over the wall. Right? I was like, whoa.
I'm never curious about these strange abilities.
No curiosity. I know she's in a tree. Because I guess it was like the zoo closed an hour and a half earlier and she avoided security, even though she was just standing in front of the panther all goddamn day.
That was the old days. They don't really sweep. You get locked in.
I guess not.
Whatever.
You could just be there. But John Hurd immediately takes her out, which looked like to me like they were just going out to like not even a diner, like fast food, until I saw they were all eating oysters. Is that how they do it in New Orleans? It's fast food oysters, perhaps.
Maybe so.
First day.
I would walk out because oysters are disgusting. I'm like, and of course it's considered an aphrodisiac.
They are.
So what
he knew what he was doing early.
He's like, drink up. Let me get you another 40 ounce of malt liquor to swill those oysters down with.
He did. He did. He was on the make early.
This is sexy John Hurd time. John Hurd had many phases. So this is leading man John Hurd. Later on, no one's eating oysters with him.
Well, and he's handsome in this movie.
He is. He's
handsome.
Very
he's
attractive.
fit.
He's naked.
Kind of shockingly so. He was
exactly.
Yes, you see a lot of hurt. Excuse me, John
honestly,
Hurd.
Like I said, and he's
John
always
Hurt.
good. Not John Hurt. This one is John Hurd.
Like I heard what you said.
Is more attractive than John Hurt. Yes.
The Elephant Man. Yes. I guess that would be true. What's funny is 2 years later he was in Chud. John Hurd. Now we're talking about, and he had like a full like gut, like no washboard abs. Those abs are gone at that stage.
He's like, I don't need that.
For no
leading
reason.
man
He's just
money. He's like, I tried it out, and it's not for me. Let's just relax. Let's loosen up the belt. I got my Sansa belt slacks. I got a drawstring waistband. Let's just relax. Let's just be cool. Because honestly,
I gotta look this up because I was reading.
I think he worked more as he got older and fatter. Correct me if I'm wrong.
He talked about this. He wrote. They talked about him like his career legacy in 2008. Hurd was asked about his career, and he replied, I guess I went from being a young leading man to being just kind of a back actor. When I was in Hollywood, I was pretty much a stage actor, and I expect everyone to be quiet, and they weren't. They were just doing their job, and you're expected to do your job. You're sort of this ongoing coexistence. I was a little bit of an arrogant jerk. Now it's a little bit more like, okay, I realize you have to pat me down with powder every 3 seconds. And I stand there, and I'm a little more tolerant.
So
I think I had my time. I dropped the ball. I dropped the ball, as my father would say. I think I would have done more with my career than I did, but I got sort of sidetracked. But that's okay. That's all right. That's
sidetracked
the way it is.
By what?
No sour grapes, I mean.
You mean like with being an asshole and eating chicken?
Yeah, I think basically he was kind of a dick, and everyone hated him. And then eventually he's like, oh, yeah, we're not hiring you to be the star of this movie anymore. And now you got a huge gut. So you could be, dude, you could be Kevin's dad in Home Alone for a couple movies. How's that sound?
Now, he did a bunch of other stuff, but I will tell
He
you,
did.
he's always good. But that's just it. You'll find these people, you're
Yes.
like, why is this motherfucker still getting jobs? He's the worst. Because everyone likes him. It doesn't
Correct.
matter if you're the
Correct.
most talented person. If you're a dick, nobody wants to be around you. Boom.
Being likable goes a long way.
Yeah.
Where people don't mind hanging out with you for 20 hours a day. If you make it a nightmare, I don't care how good you are, people are going to stop calling for you. No question.
Honestly,
a
after
thing.
Dracula, Keanu Reeves should have never worked again. But obviously, super likable, and he turned his
Yes.
shit around. There's no other explanation.
Turned his shit around. No,
There's no
there
other
isn't.
explanation.
100%. So John Hurd offers Nastasia Kinski a job because I guess he just runs the zoo. By the way, there's a
He's the
scene.
CEO
Go
of the
ahead.
zoo, and he's like, I think
He's the CEO of the zoo.
I think there's a cashier job for any girl I'm fucking, so why not? Come on in.
Why not?
Move
Fringe
over,
benefits. It
Annette.
comes with the job.
You're downgraded.
Well, did you notice there's a bizarre scene when they're talking about the finances for the zoo with John Larroquette?
Oh, yeah. I
That
was
was
like, John
bizarre.
Larroquette. I heard that. You can't miss that voice. John Larroquette has the best voice.
He's in one scene. He's
I
in
don't
one
care.
goddamn scene. Just
I
he's
mean,
great.
like, John
I think he's
Larroquette.
great. Look, this is 80s sitcom.
I love John
but he-
Larroquette.
Night Court was dynamite. It was hilarious, largely due to him.
Yes.
If we're being honest, I mean, he was
Yes.
the star of Night Court.
Yes.
So
Agreed.
another bizarre cameo. Not a cameo though, I'm sure. So now she's working in the gift shop. I don't know if she's just visiting or if what was the story? What is happening?
They're showing her how to use the fucking register because apparently they haven't bothered to do that. She can't figure out how to take a quarter from a kid who's buying some wacky packs at the zoo. Just give me a quarter, little dude, because there's no taxes in New Orleans, so I don't have. It's exactly what it's marked.
She's not just the cashier. She is like running the gift shop. You see her like, you don't see anybody else in there. She's like stocking the shelves. She's like, you see her like placing orders with, well, you don't see that, but there's a lot going on. She is a one-woman show. We don't know what her background or education is.
I really need to call. I should have called my friend Lisa. She's a curator at the San Diego Zoo. And I should check to see if she oversees the people in the gift shop. Or if she's just really messing with the animals. Or is it, it's all part of it. Like, make sure the panda's been fed, and is Susie marking down the discount stuff at the gift shop?
Does she work concessions sometimes?
Does she check on
the whole goddamn
popcorn
thing?
fresh?
That's right. Tearing tickets when they walk in the door. Oh, sweet Jesus. But and then we meet Annette O'Toole, who I guess is another zoologist or curator or something.
Yeah.
But there's clearly, this is like on again, off again, girlfriend, ex-girlfriend. I don't know what the situation is between
they
her
are
and John
current
Hurd.
lovers, and the only reason for her to be in the gift shop is to check in on what the F is going on, because she already smells it. So these pretty girls are getting instant jobs at the gift shop. Nah. Come on, Randy Andy. Nah.
Well, and you
And
may
then
be
she
right,
takes
but
him
they go
back
out
at
for
the end?
drinks. Yes.
Bullshit.
Yeah. Yes.
Dude.
Yes.
Annette, baby. Gotta have more pride than that. Nah.
Well, she goes out for drinks with Nastasia Kinski, and they seem like old friends, like chit-chatting, and even like Nastasia going, "Yes, I'm a virgin. I got close a couple times." Because that's the thing about this movie. In order for it to work, the female protagonist who doesn't know her history has to be like, "I'm a virgin. I have to be." Which
and she's
always
never seen
seems
an
strange
R-rated
when you go,
movie or had an impure dream. Come on.
right. And
Doesn't
how do you
make
go
sense.
from I'm a 21-year-old version to now I'm ready to do this. Let's
It's like,
go.
boom, boom. I don't know. I've been raised in a convent, but I know what to do. Get on it. Let's go.
I'm DTF. Let's do this. Where do I sign? 100%.
That's tattooed across her chest. Let's go.
100%. 100%. Sweet Jesus. But God damn it. And that's when, yes, Malcolm McDowell. we don't actually see a lot of transformation, because it's like occasionally like their hands like kind of split open in a claw, and then they cut to them wearing like a crazy face, and then that's it. Then they're like,
I honestly
in the bed.
Preferred this transformation over what, an American Werewolf in London.
Bowling.
Cut away. It's more effective than watching you try to do this bullshit. There's some bulbuses. I'd rather see this.
Well, you don't want to see the balloons, like
not the pulsating boils or whatever bullshit that was. And then like the spooge residue, I almost threw up when Malcolm McDowell. They're like, peel it off.
That was gross.
Eat it, Malcolm. Splash it around. He was like. As soon as he hit the water, he was trying to spit that shit out of his mouth.
That was so disgusting.
Let's talk about the time where the prostitute, the time he was the lion before he went into the zoo, and the prostitute goes down and sees like splooge all over the bed. So she sticks her hand in it.
Yes.
Checks it out. No, you're a hooker. You already know what that is. What are you gonna do? Smell it? Taste it? What the I'd be like, okay, bro, out.
Well, and you, as a prostitute, you don't want the guy to finish himself off before you get there, because then you have more work ahead of you. You know what I'm saying? You want a guy who's been saving up for the day.
Because that was a full quart. I'd be afraid.
It was at least a quart. And that's something you don't see in your typical werewolf movie. Now, this isn't a werewolf movie in the sense, because it's not a curse that is passed on. It's not like you get scratched by the panther.
No, it is a curse that is passed on, but it's not through. You're born with it.
Right. It's because it's a race of cat people.
Right.
Is what we're supposed to think.
An incestuous race.
Right. Because if you have sex with your sibling, and do you both still turn into panthers and do some panther sex? Is that how it works? Unclear.
Unexplained. And couldn't you have, I mean, there seemed to be like a 15-minute delay between sex and the changing. So technically, couldn't you lock them up and now you have a baby? And it's like a hybrid?
Because it doesn't make any sense.
Since the eon of time, that has never happened. There's only ever two.
Well, look, there are times where it's like the prostitute's walking in the door and he's already the panther, and there are times where Nastasia and John Hurd do it to completion, and then there's the post-coital snuggle, then the fall asleep, and then wake up in the middle of the night 3 hours later. Oh, now I'm changing. I mean, if that's the way it goes down, we can work with that.
I think the thing with Malcolm McDowell is you're right. It's not just having sex, because he was perched like a gargoyle on the end of his sister's bed, getting hot, and ran off.
Yes.
So he just couldn't wait.
Correct.
He either handled his business, or because he couldn't wait, because she was late. Remember, she was late, and yeah, I think that's all I can think of is he handled his business. It was too late.
There's a scene, and I mentioned it briefly, where there's a funeral where Malcolm McDowell picks up a mourner at the funeral, some blonde-headed woman, and it's smash cut. They're in the hotel room, and he's impotent. Yeah. They're sitting there naked. And then she proceeds, he's like, she's like, it's okay, baby. It's never happened to me before. And she gives him a Hummer, which presumably that awakens the beast. That
awoke the beast.
That'll get the job done.
She's like, there we go. Good boy. You got one now.
That was an upsetting moment. I'm not
was
gonna lie.
It was fucking disturbing. This whole movie's disturbing.
Now, later in the movie, Nastasia has now accepted that she's a Catwoman. So she gets on
like
a
this,
bus?
like this, like fucking this. It was like, what?
Right.
You're crazy. And the minute she killed her brother, her only possible sex partner, the only person who'll understand her in the whole world, within 1 second of doing that, then it's like, oh, okay. It's all clear.
But it kind of didn't make sense because she leaves for New Orleans to go to Virginia, arrives in Virginia, I thought, and then she opens a door and now she's in Africa or something. She's in some kind of tribal, like, it was a weird thing. No explanation. Smash cut. Annette O'Toole is jogging in the park and I guess being stalked by Natasha Kinski. Like, literally, I thought I fell asleep.
That didn't make any sense.
Like, did I miss something?
No, it makes no sense because Annette is not a rival. It is, she would like to think she is, but she is no rival because John Hurt moved Nastasia in, and it's like, Annette who? So there was really no cause for any of that. She was no threat. Annette couldn't figure anything out. She didn't know what's going on. John Hurt's not calling her, you can't believe what's going on. Nah, none of that. So that made no sense.
Right. Well, it was basically a callback to the original movie because that's like an iconic scene from the original Cat People, the pool scene. And by the way, when Annette disrobes, I was like, Jesus Christ. I mean, basically
everybody's nuking.
Other than the everybody, except for the voodoo woman. I'm seeing everybody's bosoms.
Yeah,
it's bosoms on parade. When she got naked and then jumps in the pool.
You saw more. You saw what only Michael McKean should be looking at.
You didn't. She was wearing her. Okay, Annette O'Toole was wearing her bottoms.
Oh,
the only
you're
one
right.
you see
You're right.
downstairs
You're right. Is Nastasia.
The only
you're
one
right.
you see downstairs is Nastasia.
I was thinking about our last movie with the redhead girl. I blended our redhead people together. I just saw Red Muff and it popped into my head.
But the scene from the original 40s Cat People is the woman swimming in the darkened pool. And she's getting tired because she starts to swim to the side and then she hears a growl from the shadows from that side of the pool. So then she tries to swim to the other side and there's a growl there.
It only makes sense to use that if it makes sense in the new movie.
Correct.
It was enough.
It made more sense.
It's enough that they had the lady from the original movie show up at the bar. So that's enough.
Mi hermana, which was another homage to the original movie where it's the same thing. An unexplained foreign woman calls you sister in a foreign language and then leaves and then never comes back and we don't know anything about her.
So that implies there are others that they can recognize each other. So the whole thing that Malcolm McDowell said it's only them is not true. And what language was that?
Well, in this movie, it was just Spanish. But in the other one, it was like Ukrainian or something. It was some kind of Eastern European thing in the original movie. But let me say,
Cat People have
really
scattered.
Briefly,
maybe with social media, they can meet with each other now.
There's some chat sites you could go to.
Exactly.
And
There's
say hello,
a meetup.
what's up? There's the furries. In the original movie, the zookeeper falls in love with the Catwoman. And her thing, and she knows that she's the Catwoman. She's like, I come from a long line of cat people, and if I get excited, then I turn into a cat. So they get married, and they're unable to consummate because she's afraid of becoming a cat. And what happens is, because of this schism in their marriage, he starts basically falling in love with his assistant. Right.
She'll give it to him.
So that later in the movie, and he's literally like, and he's going to, divorce his cat lady wife and go off with the assistant. And it's the assistant who's being stalked in that final scene because it is a true rival. Right. Whereas in this
But
movie,
that has
there's
nothing to
no
do with
rival.
fucking this. There is no rivalry. It's not even. It's like I'm
Right.
not even gonna say anything to you, Annette. I'm just gonna move her in, give her a job, and F her. What you gonna do? And then you can wait, see if I lose interest. Pick up the scraps. Crappy do.
She Annette O'Toole intimates that she was had been in love with him in the past, but he clearly didn't give a shit about her. Like he's flagrantly going after Nastasia right in front of her, and there's no hesitation or embarrassment or it's not what it looks. It's like hell, you're not even a blip on my radar.
No.
Is basically what he's saying.
Don't give.
And Annette's looking pretty good in this one, if I'm being honest.
She looks much better
it's a
than
sad
the mom of
situation.
Superman. I'll tell you that. She was fresh. Inviting.
She was
so
fresh.
exciting to me.
She's fresh.
She was in her youth, that's for sure.
So after Nastasia, they finally consummate. She becomes the Panther, jumps out the window, escapes. We didn't even talk about this. John Hurd has some kind of crazy swamp shack that he sometimes likes to visit.
We call it the Love Shack.
What the
It's a little
Love
place.
Shack,
Go ahead.
Right? And there's a weird like hillbilly who's like his caretaker, like the dude from frickin'
it was right out of the Pirates of
Burnt
the
Offerings.
Caribbean ride. It was Pirates of the Caribbean ride for Disneyland.
100%. What? Like this place needs a caretaker? Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So she has sex, turns into a panther. The cops are trying to just gun her down because that's what they do. And then she goes back to his swamp house, murders the caretaker, which means now she turns back, and she's like, "You need to kill me because this is how I roll now." And he won't do it because he loves her too much. And she says, "Well then, give me one for the road. What do you say, big guy? Let's do this one more time."
Jack.
And there's a 20-minute scene where he's tying her to the bed with rope, which I'm sure is not very comfortable. Let's be honest. And then they do it one more time. Smash cut to he's now clearly with Annette O'Toole. Like she's like, "Oh, honey, I'll see you at home," kind of comment like that. And then he goes to the cage, and there is the Panther, and they share a moment.
Yeah.
Credits roll.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit! This movie.
Ridiculous.
It was
Fucking
it was a sad moment because it was for
I
goddamn
just feel like
ridiculous.
someone with eyes and a pen could have made a better story out of this. I mean, there was some miscasting. It could have been better.
Right.
Why have storylines?
How so? What would you
just
have done?
because it was in the first one? We already talked about Malcolm McDowell would have been much more sexy. I would have had a better backstory for the parents, because if you're going to kill each other, why would you still have your children out? I feel like it would be a murder-suicide would make more sense. I would have a better backstory. I would have a better explanation for her. Because how come he knows everything, but she doesn't know anything?
He's 20 years older than her, so he was with the parents
So maybe
for
he
16
killed the
years.
parents.
And I guess
Yeah,
they told him
but
everything.
maybe.
I don't know.
But their caretaker, obviously she knows what's up. I feel like there'd be an explanation, there'd be some kind of a training, some indoctrination. But it was so haphazard, and the Malcolm McDowell, he's been through mental asylums. I would have just cleaned that up. It was so messy and confusing. And there'd be no spooge, and there'd be no eating of the spooge.
God, lose that shit. Lose all that shit. Unnecessary. They didn't even talk about when Malcolm McDowell is
and the
killed,
fact that it's New
John
Orleans is wasted. You're not even using anything about New Orleans.
No. But so they have the autopsy of the Panther, and he's cutting into the Panther, and then a weird old like hand comes out, a weird old like Manitou hand, and he's like, "Oh shit!" And then the whole thing turns into mush.
Turns to
mush.
Yeah, like a vampire or something. That didn't make any fucking sense.
No, this movie's wild. This movie's wild.
Yeah.
I especially liked, Malcolm McDowell tries to get on his sister, Nastasia. She jumps out the window and is running down the street. And the cops are like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And one dog barks at the house. And they're like, "Oh shit, we got to get the detectives down here. Get 5 squad cars down. We're gonna
Dude.
search the entire place because one dog barked."
The rules are different in New Orleans. The dog bark. We got permission to search the whole house. We don't need a search warrant. We don't need to go to a judge.
Nope.
You gotta have probable cause.
probable
so that
cause.
was fucking ridiculous. Yeah.
Yes, it was.
But I mean, it's just
Any
it was
last
just so
thoughts on Cat
haphazard.
People?
Yeah, I think they rushed it out. I still think that this could be a movie. This could be a remake. Since Hollywood
could.
only wants to do remakes, this could be a remake. But the story is what matters. The story, and that's where it's lacking.
Do you need incest in this movie?
I mean, it doesn't even have to be a brother and a sister. It could be a quest to find the mate, It could be that.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yes.
I was thinking about this. We watched another movie that dealt with both incest and cat people.
Caligula?
Do you remember that movie? Yes.
No.
Sleepwalkers also had incest and cat
Oh.
people. Bizarre coincidence? Is there always
No.
incest in the cat mythology? Unclear.
Well, you gotta have the European royalty, so that's all incest.
It's nonstop incest.
These are ancient people, and incest was a thing.
I don't know. I don't know anything about it just from these movies.
The Habsburgs,
Anyway.
come on, the Romanovs, that's why everybody had hemophilia, because they were too
Nonstop incest.
inbred.
V.C. Andrews.
Yes. Except a castle instead of an attic.
Shall we go behind the scenes?
Lay it on me. I hope you have heavy Malcolm McDowell information.
It's nonstop Malcolm McDowell. Here we go.
Yes.
Malcolm McDowell, see, here we go, revealed that the scene where he leaps on the bed in a cat-like fashion was shot with him jumping off the bed, and then they played it backwards to make it look like he was jumping on the bed. How about that?
All right.
Not good?
That is
A story goes that director Paul Schrader and lead actress Nastasia Kinski had an affair during production of this movie.
I think
Schrader fell in love and planned
Go
to
ahead.
propose marriage, but after the wrap party, she didn't show up to the wrap party and then cut off all communications with him. After 3 months, he finally tracked her down, at which she bluntly said, "Paul, I always F my directors, and with you it was difficult."
I was gonna say she
Kinski refuted
does
that
have a
story,
thing
though,
about
so.
that. Oh, yeah, he refuted it. She didn't refute it. She does. I do recall that reputation when she's on set. She's fucking somebody, because in the Melissa Gilbert story,
Here
she
we go.
talks about how Rob Lowe was fucking her. They were co-starring in something, and she called the front desk, one in his room, and the front desk lady said, "You might want to reach him at Miss Kinski's room." To which she packed her fucking bag and flew up there and had a full-fledged freak-out meltdown. But Melissa Gilbert
I believe
ain't
it.
competing with Nastasia. She's got the magic
Nastasia.
with JJ. Yeah.
Apparently, Paul Schrader regretted using the Cat People title after negative reaction to this movie occurred, comparing it with the original Cat People from 1942. People like the
Yeah,
original.
that's what killed it. Yeah. That was it. That's your regret.
Essentially, that's the big regret. Allegedly, even more explicit full frontal nudity scenes of Nastasia Kinski were shot. But that
How's that
Nastasia asked them
possible?
not
Was
to
it just
include certain
penetration? Well, I mean, what else could we
It
have
was-
seen? The birth canal?
It was something. By his own admission, Paul Schrader says that one day he got so stoned on set that he refused to come out of his trailer and a whole day's filming was lost.
Great.
Wah wah. During a screening, Paul Schrader was trying to walk out of the theater and producer Ned Tannen said, "Paul, if I have to sit through this shit, so do you. You made it.
Sit your ass down.
Sit your ass down."
Quit smoking all that fucking weed, dude.
The UK press erroneously reported that John Hurt would be starring in this movie, not John Hurd. And John Hurt was refused entry into South Africa when officials mistook him for John Hurd, who is a vociferous opponent of apartheid. So there you go. And also because he was in this movie, evidently.
But John Hurt was all about apartheid. That's great.
He's into it.
He's like, give me some more of those cougar ads. Lock up the black people.
The YMCA pool attendant was played by Barry Berenson, who was famously married to Anthony Perkins.
Oh, interesting. All right.
Interesting little, because we've talked about Anthony Perkins, and we were like, what woman would marry Anthony Perkins?
Our mother was in love with Anthony Perkins. He had those long eyelashes.
He was a handsome devil.
Yes.
John Hurd revealed how he almost turned down the movie because he believed it was a porno movie.
He was correct. They
He
said,
wasn't
show us
far
your
off.
ass, John.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you read that one correctly.
Lynn Lowry, who played the hooker Ruthie, did her own stunts. She's the one who was attacked by the panther in the room and escapes. And she was falling down the stairs, and they made her do it 17 times.
Because she literally had to unclasp her front bra.
Yes.
So her tits flew out.
Yes.
What? Yeah, thank you. Smoke some more weed, director.
He said he even told her he wanted her bra to pop open and reveal her breasts. And she famously said, basically, I think Paul wanted to get a shot of every woman's tits in the movie. It was either him or the studio, but somebody wanted it. Every single female outside of Ruby
is
Dee,
100% correct.
In the movie has a tit shot.
Yeah. I'm surprised he didn't ask Ruby Dee. Like when she was being dragged out by the police, a tit falls out.
Why not? Why not?
Oh God, can you imagine?
Bo Derek was
asking,
originally scheduled
like Ruby
to play.
Dee, who's been in everything and Jesus. Can you just show us one of your tits? Oh my God.
Just one. The studio requests. Bo Derek was originally scheduled to play the role that went to Nastasia Kinski.
Well, their acting is about equal.
Yep. Shall we go to the cast and crew?
Let's go.
Paul Schrader was the writer-director of Cat People. He's one of the writers. You know him because he wrote First Reformed in 2017. He wrote The Card Counter in 2021.
No.
He wrote Affliction in 1997.
Oh, I think I saw
Famously, he wrote Taxi Driver in 1976.
Is that before all the weed?
Also
because how do you write
movie...
Taxi Driver?
What?
Excuse me. Pardon. How do you go from writing Taxi Driver to Cat People?
These are questions.
I feel like he wrote that on the turlet while he was taking a dump. So there you go.
He also wrote American Gigolo and Hardcore. So all sorts of stuff. How about them apples?
That's interesting. I never saw either one of those.
Nastasia Kinski played Irena Gallier. I don't remember what her name is.
Oh, so she's French with that German accent?
I guess. Unclear.
Raised in America
her from
in an
Tess.
orphanage? Yes.
You know her from Tess in 1979.
Tess was upsetting.
Paris, Texas.
Never saw
Paris, Texas in 1984. Cat People 82. And the Charlie Sheen vehicle Terminal Velocity in 1994.
Never saw it.
Malcolm McDowell played her brother Paul.
Paul Schrader.
You know him.
Yes.
Paul, 100%. You know him from A Clockwork Orange in
Yep.
1971. Star Trek Generations in 1994.
Did not see
Time
that, I
After
don't think.
Time in
A classic.
1979. And he was in the Rob Zombie Halloween movies playing Dr. Loomis starting in 2007.
Interesting. And I already told you the story how I met him on the beach one time, and he was lovely, and he talked to me about my camera. He couldn't have been nicer.
Well, it seems like a very nice gentleman.
Yes.
John Hurd played Oliver Yates, the curator of the zoo. They make a point to say curator. You know him from Big in 1988, playing an asshole. He was in The Guardian in 2006, Unfamiliar. He was in Awakenings, playing Dr. Kaufman in 1990. You know Awakenings with Robert De Niro and Robin Williams.
Oh, with the
L-Dopa?
I need some L-Dopa. yes, you're right. He didn't show his ass on that one.
That ended up on the cutting room floor, I'm sad to say. Annette O'Toole played Alice Perrin. She was the assistant curator, something, I don't know. She was in Superman 3 with Richard Pryor in 1983. She was in Smallville, 136 episodes, playing Martha Kent.
And she got an Emmy.
Interestingly,
she got an Emmy
yes,
for that song she wrote with Michael McKean for A Mighty Wind.
I was just going to say that. She's credited in the soundtrack of A Mighty Wind for A Kiss at the End of the Rainbow.
Yeah.
They wrote and sang those songs together. Isn't that funny?
No, they did not. Kiss at the End of the Rainbow was with Catherine O'Hara and what's his name, but they wrote it.
They didn't do it in the movie, but they perform it now in the world.
Like when they tour?
When they do, actually. Michael McKean, her husband, and Annette O'Toole.
Well, there's a new Spinal Tap, so I'm looking forward to seeing Michael McKean in spandex again.
I know. She was in 48 Hours playing the beleaguered girlfriend of Nick Nolte in 1982. So, good stuff. Let's see. Anybody else you want to know? Ruby Dee played Famale. Ed Bigley Jr. played Joe Cray, the one-armed zookeeper. Anyway, it's an all-star cast. Let's look at the rating, shall we?
Let's go.
Cat People on Rotten Tomatoes currently has 65% fresh. Do you know what the audience gave it?
70.
46. Not a fan.
Not a fan.
Let's look at the top critics. We got Roger Ebert from the Chicago Sun-Times says, Cat People is a good movie in an old tradition, a fantasy horror film that takes itself just seriously enough to work, has just enough fun to be entertaining, and contains elements of intrinsic fascination in its magnificent black leopards. Agree?
That's a bunch of nonsense. Has nothing to do with the fucking movie, and that has no story and nothing makes fucking sense. How about that?
Fair. Variety staff says Kinski is essential to the film as conceived, and she's endlessly watchable.
Yeah.
No?
You can just watch her pubic hair in her ass. One of the most disturbing part is when she's changing into a cat, and they have to have a close-up on her breast as it dries up like a raisin and sinks up inside of her. Because there weren't enough pictures of her
remember
tits.
that scene.
Oh, yeah, I wrote it down. I was like, what the
Let's talk to our critic in residence, AI Rex Reed, and see what he has to say.
Let's do that.
Cat People is a sultry, sleaze-drenched fever dream where incest, panthers, and Giorgio Moroder compete for screen time, and somehow the panther gives the most nuanced performance. Thank you, AI Rex Reed. Boom.
AI Rex Reed, bless you.
What is your rating, Aaron?
I'm going to give it like a 2.5 for the movie, but a 5 out of 5 for the theme song. Because David Bowie
Okay.
rocks. The movie fucking sucks.
Well, 2.5 doesn't seem like a fucking sucks.
I
if we're
threw
being
some
honest.
nostalgia
It seems like
on
mediocre.
it. It's got a 2.5 for nostalgia. It's watchable.
Yeah, I
if you
don't
want to
disagree.
see
I give it-
naked
I give it-
people.
Right. It was trying to be an erotic thriller,
Right.
is what it was trying to be. There's a lot of nudity.
It's trying to be
There's-
softcore.
I mean, go ahead.
It's trying to be softcore.
It was 100%.
Yes.
100%. I'm giving it 2.5 out of 5 as well. I didn't hate it. I think you hated it. I just thought it was eminently
I've seen
mediocre.
it 5 times.
And it was bizarre. This is the first time I've seen it all the way through. There were times I laughed out loud. Poor Egley, when Ed Begley Jr. gets killed, I laughed, which I don't think was
love
the
it.
reaction we were supposed to have. But yeah, I give it 2.5 out of 5.
It was a
Moving
lot
on.
of
Any last
people-
thoughts about?
Yeah, it was a lot
Go
of
ahead.
people who ended up being TV stars because John Hurt, I think, was even on the like X-Files and things like that by the end. They're all they all had dreams
Maybe.
of the movies and they all ended up on TV.
It's a sad situation. Sad situation. Shall we move on then, Aaron?
Let's go.
So, thank you very
Wait a minute.
much.
What
Go to our
happened to
page across social
AI
media.
Rex Reed?
I already did AI Rex Reed.
I must have tuned you out.
You did. And you kind of said you were on your phone while I did it. You did not respond. And then moving on with our lives. Anywho,
I was preparing for the
let me
next
start over
segment.
my final thing here. Go ahead. Thank you very much. You can find us all across social media. We're on Blue Sky, Threads. We're on TikTok. We're on Instagram. You can watch us on YouTube at this very moment. Goodness gracious. You can email us the podcast that wouldn't die at Gmail.
Gmail.
There it is. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere the finer podcasts are available. So don't forget to like, share, rate, and review. Won't you?
Won't you please?
Aaron, what is your social media situation?
I'm on media. I'm on Instagram. I'm the Cult of Aaron. Join the cult. I have artwork on Artsy and First Dibs. Check it out.
Boom, boom. As you know, we like to include our friends and family and strangers across the interwebs to share their thoughts and feelings on what we've had to say. Aaron, what do you got for us?
I've got a comment on the TikTok. I'm trying to move my glasses down, but I'm not wearing glasses. I had a post about Cannibal Holocaust being found footage, and people have been freaking arguing with me that it's not found footage. I don't know who these people are, but someone's talking about people actually believe that the first two, which is the Blair Witch and Paranormal Experience, that people believe those were real. So people believe that the Cannibal Holocaust was real too because they arrested the director.
Not real.
No, and they're not real.
And they're not
I'm
real.
responding to them.
Anything else, Aaron? Should we move on with our lives?
That's it.
Next week, we're going to be discussing the Godzilla classic, Destroy All Monsters. And we may have a special guest for you. You just got to wait and see what happens.
We may have a special guest.
Well, I like to under promise and over deliver is how I roll. I don't want to do it the other way where I over deliver and under promise or something along those lines. Where can we watch Destroy All Monsters, you ask?
I am.
You can watch it
that.
on Prime Video with a subscription, Max with a subscription, Criterion
Free on
with a
Prime if I subscribe.
Yes.
Finally.
Free.
Finally. and Jeff Bezos.
Fandor, Philo, Favesome. There are things I don't even know what they
Favesome.
are.
They're just you're
Dark
just making
Room.
shit up
Are these
now.
real?
No.
Unclear.
No.
So
none of those
they're
are
out
real.
there. I'm not using them, but if you want to, there are ample places for you to find Destroy All Monsters. And please send in your favorite scenes, favorite quotes, comments, and questions, and we may talk about it on the show. So, thank you very much, and be well.
Bye, people.